Well, good morning again, everybody. So here we go. We've actually got a boat race on our hands now. The fleet's starting to get into it, and lots of things to talk about. Just to review a couple of things. First of all, I will do the tutorial on how to work the tracker and all the features, most of the features later today. So that's the big deal. Then you can play around with all sorts of things, and we'll talk about how to get the app if you haven't got the app yet. You can follow it on your mobile device. Brian Hancock is going to be writing our daily written reports. That comes up on Facebook. Brian's done a couple of Whitbreads, or a few. He was on Alaska Eagle, which was the ex-flyer one. And he also was on Drum in another edition, and a couple of legs on Fazizi as well, the Russian boat. So he got a lot of knowledge. He's a great commentator, so you can read all about it with him there. And occasionally I'll drop in if he's busy or whatever. And on that point, tomorrow there probably will not be this tracker update. Everyone's been busy here shutting things down. And at 5 o'clock in the morning or even earlier, we leave here tomorrow. We're traveling all day, back in Les Sables d'Olonne in the office, probably about midnight tomorrow night. So I doubt whether we'll be able to get a tracker summary up tomorrow because we haven't got a fallback position yet. We will have that going forward, but all of our team is pretty flat out right now. So tomorrow you'll have to enjoy the tracker yourself and follow the written reports and so on. A couple of things. The other one, of course, Butch Dalrymple Smith. I mentioned this yesterday. He'll be writing opinion pieces as we go forward. So look forward to that. We'll also, in the days ahead, we're not sure exactly when, we'll open up the Bayonet platform. Now, Bayonet, a very super high-tech company. We'll talk more about that later on, from the Emirates. They were a sponsor of Abolish Tommy in the last Golden Globe race. And they developed the beginning of what is a pretty interesting platform where everything associated with what we're producing in social media, all the photos, the videos, incidents, reports in a timeline along the tracker, and everything's all on one panel. So you can sit there like on TV, hit buttons, and you'll be able to pull up anything without having to go anywhere. So you'll have all the video clips, all the photos, all the Instagram bits, all the tweets, everything. It'll all be on one section. It'll be quite sophisticated. So if you're a guy like me, you probably think, oh, that's too hard. But for those that are savvy and want to get into it, it's going to develop as we go forward. So all of this leg down to Cape Town will be slowly making various inputs, molding it around. But by the time the fleet is in the Southern Ocean, it'll be quite an interesting resource for lots of reasons. But more about that later. To be clear, when the entrants are sending their mandatory 1 tweet a day or up to 4 tweets a day, they go on to Twitter pretty much as soon as we see them. You'll see them on the OGR Twitter account, and then once or twice a day, Jane will summarize them and put them onto Facebook as a group, so you can read the lot. At the moment, we do a translation into French. We'll see if we can do other languages later on, so you can all get to follow what goes on. But they become a bit of a storyline, so they do tell an interesting story, which will become more and more popular as things start to happen. The entrant photos and videos, when we get them, they will also be positioned in various spots. We'll use them in press releases. All the entrants get them themselves, so you can follow their own social media engagement, and you'll see what they're producing then as well. For now, there's not a lot coming. They can actually start producing them, but there's a few boats even that haven't even sent us any tweets because they're all settling into the boat, getting used to their systems, their routine, and the last thing they want to do is even send out one tweet. So there's some entrants that we haven't heard from yet, but we know they're safe. There's a few little comms issues. So we're happy with the fleet at the moment. Weather's benign, as you'll see in a minute. News. Excuse me. Stern is happy, didn't break anything else in the last 24 hours, settling in. We had a report from Maiden that they were happy the wind's picking up. They're predicting they'll pass translated sometime today, maybe. What else we got? Everyone's pretty good. So, follow that. I think that's probably enough there. So we'll roll over to the tracker now, and you'll see some interesting stuff going on. And we had a few people sending us messages when they saw that Galliana seemed to have stopped. For some reason, she stopped over here and was not doing the right thing. But Obviously, they fell into a wind hole. You can see now clearly this is the real-time weather. The wind direction is now coming. It's swung into the west, and it's quickly swinging to the northwest, and that's perfect condition. So all of a sudden, these guys are breaking out of the channel, heading into the Bay of Biscay, and that's likely to hold as well. And we'll talk about that once we go through it. Now, this is Godspeed. I have no idea what they're up to at the moment, but they're basically heading north-northwest away from the course. They're making 5.2 knots, and I'm not sure what's going on. They haven't sent us any particular messages to suggest there's anything wrong. They're making good speed. Have absolutely no idea. Maybe someone put a magnet by the compass or something, but they should be very aware of what's happening. So we'll look forward to hearing a bit more about that. This little group of boats down here, obviously, when it was really light, they decided to stay on starboard tack, heading in, get out of the current, because there's been some big currents back and forwards here. So Stern is making 3.5 knots. She's currently ranked 12th in line honours, 12th in IRC, and 3rd in adventure class. So, yeah, they were committed to head down here, and it's not going to work out too bad if this wind swings quickly. And I'm not sure it's going to swing quick enough. So they're going to get blocked by France here, and they'll have to tack over, which is a waste of time. So they may lose a bit of ground compared to these other guys over here that are going to make one tack and keep going around the corner. So that'll play out in the next 4 hours, but I think they're going to be forced to tack. So that's Avrika sitting down there doing 5.7 knots and still, moving okay. They're out of the main current stream, which I'll show you in a minute, but it's a problem for them. Same with White Shadow. They obviously would have tacked it already by now. And to do that, they're probably going to be coming up here somewhere. They're tacking on that as it's swinging. Who knows? We'll just have to see how that plays out. But it might cost them 4 or 5 hours in relation to the other boats in the fleet. Back here, Galliana's now finally on a roll. I was happy to see them move, making quite good time, 6.9 knots. Heading down to the southwest. Explorer, 7.8 knots, and still holding 11th position in line honours, which is pretty cool. No complaints there. They're all okay, although there might be something going on with their satellite phone. They can't lock into the satellites for some reason. We're not sure why. So their tweets are coming in on the YB3. We'll talk about this as we go forward, but each of the boats has various means of communication. So a couple of satellite phones, a couple of YB3s, their HF radio, and various other devices as well. The Spirit Equip making pretty good time, heading out there, holding up a little bit high and making the most of it, probably going for speed, 7.9 knots. Not too bad. And then down here, we've got Triana doing particularly well. Triana's leading in adventure class. The boat set up, with some pretty high-performance sailors on board, and they don't have furling gears. They've really got a performance rig, and they're out to prove something as well. So they're doing really well. And directly in front of them is Outlaw. Now, Outlaw's a slightly bigger boat, possibly even slightly lighter, doing 8.6 knots. So, they're going to have their own little tussle there. They virtually be within sight of each other.
Is the screen frozen?
The screen is frozen. Let me see what's going on here. It's not. The screen's frozen. That might be an internet issue. Can you get on and check that? Online.
Frozen.
It's frozen. Okay, so we're getting any audio? Hey, so I have no idea why the screen is frozen. I have no idea why the screen is frozen. I'm just checking a couple of things here. Nope, it's suggesting I've got 5 bars here at the moment. So can someone that's watching this send me a message and say if she can hear you okay? So you can hear me, but the audio, the vision is no good, and I have no idea why. Okay, I'm going to turn it up. It's going to swap screens for a minute, come back to me, and then I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to pull it up again. I can share it, remove it. Are you sure you want to remove the resource? Yes. I have to share the screen again. We'll come up with the live tracker, share that back, and then I'll come back again here. So hopefully How's that? Someone send me a message. Can hear you clearly now. Can see you too. Okay. Can you see the tracker? I'm looking at the comments here along the side. So if someone's seeing the tracker and it's not frozen, I can hear you and see you, but can you see the tracking map? I can hear you fine. No one's confirming. Yes, all good now. Perfect. Okay. So I'll get back to it. I'm not sure what that was. It wasn't the internet. We're using a software program called Be Live, and it usually doesn't do that. Usually it's pretty good, but here we go. Okay. So back to the system here. As I was saying, yeah, Triana and Outlaw are going to have a good scrap there. So that's good. The Spirit of Crypt coming across 7.9. Now here's the next lot of fun. I'll just pick this up here and just describe a few things that are going on with the flyer class. You can see Penduic and Spirit of Helsinki are right on top of each other. And over the side here, you've got Maiden. Okay, she's on the hunt. And you've got Translated still in the lead, holding first in IRC, first in handicap, and first in line honours and first in class. Now you've got to think about what these four boats here represent. You know, Maiden is a Bruce Farr design, designed to be a surfing boat. She's reaching now. She's probably got her big kites up. The wind speed here is probably set at about 15 knots, 15 to 18, down to 12 at times. So the Maiden would be powered up. She would be surfing, I reckon, close to it. It's 9.8 average speed. So that's pretty cool. When you look at Penduic and of course Marie is out to sort of try and keep ahead of Maiden, but she's a much heavier boat and not necessarily prone to surfing at this stage. Once the winds get really heavy, that'll all change. But at the moment, it's reasonably light. So Penduic's not able to stretch her legs and really, show us what she's got. And that's been the case pretty much since the start. So she's doing pretty well. Spirit of Helsinki is a little bit similar. She was designed, I forget how many years now, probably 8 years later, than Penduic. So potentially there's a performance benefit there. And when the winds do pick up, Helsinki and Penduic are going to be very interesting to watch as well. As for Translated, this is crazy. She's being driven hard by the crew, I'd say. She's basically a standard Swan 65, and that's a pretty cool boat. But that was put out there in the very first Whitbread race in 73, as was Penduic. And I think what you'll probably see, it's clear that she's got an advantage over Penduic for now. But once we start to push over sort of 20, 25 knots, which will happen, later on, I think you'll see Penduic start to push through. As for Penduic and Maiden, this is my opinion, that's going to be really hard to call because, the heavier the weather gets on a light planing boat, yes, you can go fast, but you can also lose control maybe. And they got a very good crew on Maiden, obviously, but it's going to be fascinating to watch. So what I'm really saying, I've got no idea what's going to happen, but certainly this is going to be a lot of fun going forward. This flyer group is fun to watch. And then you come back to, Cellular class and Adventure class. They've all got their little games. When you come back to Explorer, well, they're out for the ride, but they're sailing the best they can. So all is pretty cool at the moment. Now I'm going to scroll you back and just show you what's going to happen to the weather going forward. So by moving this bar up the top here, I'm going to progress the weather. So this is it at about 7:30 UTC, so 8:30 real time. And you can see that the wind strength staying about the same, but it's definitely hooking around, and it's going to start filling in from the north as the day progresses. There is a colour gradient that gives you the wind speed. Once you're into the oranges here, your true wind is coming into the sort of 25, 28, probably not 30, but strong following breezes, which is exactly what they'll be looking for. But that's going to favour the guys at the back here. Galliana will get everything up and Explorer will go, and they'll slowly close a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit down towards the leaders where it's going to go a little bit lighter. So, but if you look at the pack here on the coast, by this afternoon, they've got no real benefit. They're going to be light. They're in a hole. All of the others are going to pull away quicker, and then they'll still reach past the corner here, around past Brest and down. So that's pretty cool. You can see what's going on. Hopefully Godspeed will turn around again there. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Yeah. just pushing through. So by midnight tonight, that's what you've got. Now, again, if these guys come down the coast, into the bay, they've got a bit more breeze. The leaders are going to slow down again. It's dropping back to 10 knots there. So I'm going to keep progressing to you with a bigger perspective on the weather. I'm assuming you can see that, and keep toggling that through. Once you move that, you got to hit that again. So this is now 24 hours from now. So you can see the fleet's still not got a lot of pressure. They're going to have light winds, not a lot happening, going to be slow across the Biscay. That's actually changed from yesterday. It was suggesting yesterday there would be a solid northerly gradient all the way down here and ride them through. But now I think these guys are going to park here. And that's not so happy for them. In fact, everyone looks like it's going to be a bit slow. Yep, they're going to have to get south. So this is coming up into the 14th. So this is 2 days ahead. So 2 days ahead, I've got a ruler here, which I think I mentioned before. 2 days is going to be a slow day, probably 150 for today, and then another 150, bring it out to 300. Yeah, so they've still got a couple of days before they start to get into this, northerly flows, bordering on into get into the trade winds further south. So anyway, I won't get too involved with that yet, but it's going to be a slow couple of days, I think, but some interesting racing. You'll start to see what the various boats are going to do. And as I say, hopefully Godspeed will turn around. But we'll have to wait and see. Okay, I think that's, I'm just going to quickly go through and see if there's any questions here in the comments. Thanks for giving me updates about the frozen screen. John Pinder, will there be an OGR underground site for the advanced stats? In fact, it's funny, John. For those that don't know about this, there was a GGR underground guy that put up all the stats of the race, and I just thought last night, I'll have to get onto him and see if he's going to do the same with the OGR, because it's beyond us to do the level of statistics that he was producing. So we'll certainly get a message to him and say, hey, what you up to? And he may well do it. He may already be onto it. I'm not sure. So we'll check up on that. Okay. Hi, Don. Did Bayonet platform will be on Abolitionist Journey or OGR? No, it's an actual new one. We've made a partnership with Bayonet to produce a new platform, which will be greatly advanced on what you saw with Abolish. If you're following him, it'll be fantastic. Especially right now, it's all a bit too early because there's not a lot to look at. We've only just started the race. But as we go south, all of this media that's coming up is actually going to be all in one place. So it's quite exciting. So stand by for that. It'll start to take shape in the next couple of days, or in the days ahead. It might be a week or something before it's up officially. Jane, you're in the wrong account. You're answering the questions as Golden Globe Race official.
Did you see me? I think yes. I'm in the wrong account.
Okay. Stuart, morning, Stuart. Morning, everyone. Audio's good. I can hear. Getting rid of the thing. See the tracker. Okay, no real questions by the look of it. But anytime you've got any questions on any of this, we're happy to answer. So, and it will. This whole morning routine will start to ramp up as everything gets further along and we get into the system. So thanks, and look out for the tutorial on how to use the tracker. That'll be later today, and then we'll file that so you can always call back on it and see how it's going. Okay, that's it from me. So we'll see you again, not tomorrow, but the day after. Okay, and then we'll swing it through. We might try something tomorrow, but I doubt it. We'll see. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.